Hi, today let's talk about Default Kit. Before going into functionalities, let's know a little about Default Kit. Well, Default Kit stores all the necessary, or you can say the primary information and properties about your WordPress. Let's visit our homepage. This is my homepage, and you can see that there is a uniformity in the font family of all the headings. Their properties are put by individual elements. Like, I went to the individual element and gave them a property of font family, font weight, and all. But wouldn't it be easy that I only set this property once in my website, and whenever I add another element, it gets that property by default? Well, this is what Default Kit do. Let's go to our dashboard and see how we can access our Default Kit. Once we are in our dashboard, we are going to hover over templates and visit Save Templates. Click all, and at the bottom of it you can see Default Kit. It is an extension of Elementor, so I'm going to click on Edit with Elementor so that I can access it. Once it's open, you can see a left panel where I get all the properties about my web page. Here includes design system, theme style, and settings. Let's get an overview of design system. Firstly, we have global colors. Now, what color I want for my global elements. For example, whenever I add a post element or a post widget in my web page from Elementor section, then by default its color is going to be blue. I'm talking about heading. Its text, or we say excerpt, is going to be a color of this grayish part, and the ascent, that means the links, are going to be a color of this color. So in order to make it a uniform across my web page, I'm just going to give it a color of, let's say, black. When I do this, by default all the colors of the links will be going to be black. But let's reverse it because I don't want that, and go back, discard all the changes. Global fonts. As I told you that I visited each and every element and gave it a special property. But in order to save my time, what I can do is I can just go to the primary. That means all the fonts which are going to be appearing as H1 or the headings of a particular section. Click on it and search my default font like Laura. I select it, I give it a size, I give it a weight, and then all set. Now, whenever I add an element from Elementor panel to my web page or any other page in my website, it is going to be by default a LoRa form. The secondary, text, and recent are also done the same. Here, a good thing is it is a responsive form, so you can uniformly set their width and height, or in this case, the font size for each and every element. Let's go back. I don't want the responsive part here. Alright. After that, I get the theme style. Now, theme style is also a part of theme building because it gives us a variety of choices to create a uniform way of putting elements in our web page. Here, you can see that I have put the text color of my body tag as black. That means by default, every text that is going to be put on my body of my web page, it is going to be of black color. Then I have a choice of putting links color. Now, it is really interesting because sometimes the links are given a color of green or a blue by default theme. But if you want to change it and do not want it to do again and again in every element, you can just come here and give it a color. Let's say I wanted to give it a purplish color by default. And when I hover over it, I want it to be pink. So here I go. I know it's a really bad choice of colors, but you get the idea that how we can change the color of a link uniformly across my web. And not just that, I can change the typography as well. Here, put it as let's say Poppins. It's a good choice of font, and the weight, transform, style, decoration, all the necessary properties that you wanted, and then you have it. The same thing can be done with the h1, h2, h3, h4, h5 and h6. That means all the tags are present here and the elements that you are going to use on your website will have the same property. Go back. Then comes the button. You can style your button according to yourself. And for example, in my website, I have sharp cornered button. And by default, the Elementor part gives me a little bit of curved edges. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it as 0 and update. When I do this in my page, whenever I hover over a button or add a new button over my page, it is by default going to be a 0 border radius. That means corner edges. Images. You can set the border radius, opacity, the normal and hover effect of an image on your website. Then comes the form fields. You can set throughout uniform properties for all the form fields that you are going to put on your web. For example, if I'm going to put a form on contact us and at the same time on the home page I'm going to put a form, I can just give them a uniform property and by that I can save time. Then comes the setting part. It is really necessary to know us that the site identity of your website is a really crucial part. Here, you provide it as a site description. I am going to remove this part. It was put by default theme and I can add a site logo and site favicon which appears on my website and just update it. By that, I put a uniform logo and favicon on my Elementor part and whenever I am, for example, editing my header or footer, I do not have to upload an image. I am just going to access the site logo property and drag and drop it on my header or footer. Let's go back. Background. Background is the thing that I like most about the site default kit because sometimes I have to provide a background to my whole website, like not the regular whitish color but a grayish or a blackish part. What people do is that they provide each and every element a black color, but it increases the volume of CSS and you can save it by just clicking here and give it a black color. By this, your whole website's background color will be black by default. And that's easy because now you don't have to worry about clicking on each and every element, giving it a special property of background color black. I'm not going to change it and let's go back. Then comes the layout. Layout decides that how much width and padding that each and every container of your website is going to take. Then comes the lighthouse. Lighthouse basically means that whenever you click on an image which contains a link, it will open a small box or a pop-up window instead of just opening the whole page. It occupies your server RAM. That is why I do not use it. Page transitions. When you have an interactive website, for example, a gaming shop or something like what we use nowadays, itineraries, in which users are going to click on a particular link and then get new window and slide it over hovering. That is what the page transitions can do. I can just click on fade in and whenever a new page is loaded, it is not going to just reload by time, but it will fade in by default. And yeah, then we have the custom CSS and additional settings which are used if you want to add any specific property or change and setting about the default kit or the WordPress in general in your website. And this is how you can work with default kit and it is really necessary to use it because it saves times. And that's the end of this video and thank you so much for watching and I hope this video was really helpful to you. Also, for similar videos, please subscribe to Quick Skills. Thank you so much.